The only duo brave enough to talk nonsense with conviction. Ladies and gentlemen, Shabba, Kate, two talking fools.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Two Talking Fools podcast. We are the Two Talking Fools, two average, and I mean average girls taking their phone calls to the podcast. This evening, I am doing a solo podcast with my guest, Patty, and we have the great honor of interviewing our guest tonight, Renee. And as many of you know, if you've run into me lately, like I've said, I have been on this hot button and hot issue of this drug, over-the-counter drug, referenced as 7-O, a derivative much stronger than kratom, and it is devastating what it's doing to people. And people cannot get off this drug. And so when I fell down this rabbit hole through TikTok, and then I went on to another site, another feed, I decided that I wanted to take action and actually interview people that have gone through this. And I connected with Renee, who's on the other line, and we're going to talk about her experience. So without further ado, so she can tell it in her words, Renee, welcome to the Two Talking Fools podcast.
Thank you.
So I guess we've got to figure out where we're going to start here. I think, could you just tell us a little bit about you without, you tell us as little or as much as you'd like to say, but just to kind of just tell us who you are leading up to 7-0.
Sure. I'm a very normal person. Born and raised in Portland, Oregon. I guess that's about as normal as you can be out here. But corporate job, I don't know, married, 2 cats, a hedgehog. I'm not the kind of person you'd look at and suspect of having a drug problem. I'll say that much. 35 years old. Just, kind of average in every visible sense.
So when you say, like marijuana, were you into those types of drugs or?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had sampled and I will say that I've been a recreational drug user since probably my teens, but I was never addicted. I never had a serious drug problem until 7-OH kind of came into my life.
So tell us how this went down. Tell us how you got your hands the first time that you ever took it, experienced it.
Sure. So I had taken kratom maybe since I was about 22 years old. I was introduced to kratom by a friend of a friend, and I had taken it on and off kind of to help with anxiety issues. It was never something that I had a problem with. I wouldn't say I was addicted to it. I kind of picked it up and put it back down at various points from age 22 to 34. One day, it was right before my 34th birthday, my husband came home from work. He was managing a liquor store at the time, and a sales rep had come into his work giving out free sample packs of something called 7-OH. And he told my husband that it was kratom derivative, is how it was explained. My husband thought, well, it's kratom. Renee likes kratom. Maybe she'll like this. He brought the pack home. It was my birthday weekend. We were up in Seattle having a good time. And I thought, well, I'll try it, have a fun little birthday treat. And the minute I took my first pill, I thought, oh my God, this feels like OxyContin.
Really?
Yeah.
So instantly, it must have been a high that you liked.
It was, I've never taken anything that got its hooks into me so quickly.
All right, let's backtrack a second, because I think where I get lost is kratom. Now, I'm 41. We've heard of weed and, obviously all that shit, ecstasy and that. Kratom, Renee, I've never really heard of kratom up until recently.
Yeah, I've never heard of kratom either.
You never have either. Patty has never either. So can you explain, where do you even get kratom to start? And what is it?
So kratom is a plant that grows in Malaysia. It's been used in East Asia for hundreds of years to treat pain mostly. I don't know how long it's been in the States, but it had some popularity here in like the early 2000s through the 2010s. It was kind of obscure though when I was introduced to it. You could buy it at head shops. I bought mine at an apothecary where they sold other herbs. But it wasn't a well-known thing. I would compare though the feeling of kratom because I wasn't taking it for pain relief. Again, I was taking it to help with anxiety issues. But it's such a subtle feeling. If I had to compare it to anything, I'd compare it to smoking weed.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Now, and I'm just curious, did you ever think like when you were like anxiety is such a we all suffer from it. Like it is debilitating. Did you ever want to go on like prescription meds or was this something that like you were looking for a natural supplement?
I was looking for natural relief in some ways. I've taken like SSRIs and whatnot to try to help with anxiety issues. And I don't like the thought of having to take a certain medication every single day. So I was attracted to something that I could take like as needed, which is kind of what kratom provided me with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So, okay, so you're in Seattle, you're on this, you take this pill and you're like, "Holy shit. This is awesome." Does your husband try it?
He did not.
How soon after did you take a second pill?
So I took the pills that were in that sample pack, the free sample pack. We arrived back home in Portland, and a couple days later, I was walking literally down the street from my house a few blocks to go buy a vape. And at the vape shop, I noticed that they were selling the same brand of pills, like the same as the free sample pack over the counter. And I was like, oh, well, no, why not? I hesitate to say keep the party going.
Yeah, but if they
I
make
bought another pack.
if
I
they
bought
make you
another
feel
pack.
that good, like, naturally you're thinking, "Oh my." Okay, because the thing like, naturally you think you can buy it at a smoke shop, a vape shop, so how bad can it be for you? Truly.
I mean, I was under the impression still at the time that it was kratom
Okay.
or some loose derivative of kratom. I didn't I hadn't done my research. Like it was an irresponsible choice to make, but
I have a question about okay, so you had mentioned that oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Patty. I haven't really talked much, but
Sorry.
sorry.
hi, Patty.
Hi. So you had mentioned that when you first tried the it's in pill form, right? The 7OH.
Right. They sell it in pills. You can also buy like liquid shots of it, but I wasn't on that train.
So you mentioned when you first tried a pill, you said it felt like an oxy. You have had experience with oxy in the past, like from an injury or something, or like from
Well, recreationally, but not in like an addictive sense. In
okay,
my
so you
early
had tried one
20s, like
before.
I had taken an odd painkiller here and there, but it was never something I had a dependency to or like really sought out when I was younger either.
Right. Okay. Would you describe I've never taken an oxy before, so I don't know.
Mhm.
Would you describe like taking an oxy as like a heightened version of smoking weed?
No,
Different.
not at all. Have you ever taken a Vicodin or any other kind of opioid painkiller?
No.
Hmm. No, the thing about weed is marijuana can make some people paranoid. I'm one of those people. I don't smoke weed for that reason.
Yeah, no, I got
I
you.
feel like opioids, if I had to compare the high of an opiate to anything, it's kind of like having a warm hug around your brain, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Yeah, actually it does. I had a C-section when I had my daughter, and I think they gave me Vicodin, and I was like, "Wow, like this is something." Yep,
Yeah, it's like slipping on footy pajamas, right? But in a mental
exactly.
way.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right, you get home from Seattle, you a couple days later, you buy another pack. Now, off you had sent me a photo. Was that the exact brand that you bought?
That was the exact brand.
Interesting. Noted. Okay, great. We'll share that with everybody after as well. So then how many come in a pack? Like explain the dosage.
So, and it changed actually while I was going to the same vape store. When I first started buying them there, they sold 4 20 milligram pills per pack. And about a month into me taking 7OH, I came in and they were selling 4 packs of 60 milligram pills. Then a few months after that, they were selling an even higher dose. I think it was 120 milligram pills at that point.
And there's 5 in a pack.
4.
4 in a pack.
Mhm.
So is this something where, like, if somebody takes it for the first time, do you take a whole pill?
Well, I can only speak for myself. I took half of one. So I took half of a 20 milligram pill my first time because I hadn't taken them before and I didn't know how it would affect me. I wanted to take it slow. I didn't want to be passing out on my birthday.
Okay, so you tried the half, and then how quickly did you up the dosage the next time you used it?
Well, that weekend, it's kind of hard to say. I went through the whole pack on that birthday weekend. And then I think I stayed around 40 milligrams, which would be 2 of those pills for about the next 2 months. So 40 milligrams a day. And then I started to build up a tolerance to it.
Were you using kratom as regularly at that point? Were you using kratom as regularly as you started using the 7OH?
Initially, I was because I was a regular kratom user leading up to that, but I found that I didn't need as much kratom once I began taking the 7OH. And I would say within the first month and a half, I completely stopped using powder leaf kratom altogether.
And how would you consume kratom?
I would buy bags of powder. It's kind of gross, but you just take a spoonful and then it's called toss and wash. Take a spoonful and then take a swallow of liquid and swish it around and swallow it.
Oh. It's a
Okay.
powder like hot cocoa?
Like hot cocoa. It looks like hot cocoa if hot cocoa were green, I guess.
Oh, like matcha. It looks like matcha?
Yeah, it looks just like matcha. That's a good
Okay.
analogy.
Let's talk about when did you realize, when did you realize, or when did you say to your husband, like, I think we got a problem here?
So a few months in, I started to do a little bit more digging on 7OH. And a lot of people don't know what it is yet, even doctors and the medical community. So I was kind of dinking around on Reddit, looking for answers. And a lot of people had said, this is going to be very hard for you to quit, or detailing their withdrawal horror stories. And I was like, oh no. Initially, though, reading all of these stories, I said to myself, these people are at much higher doses than me. I should be fine, because I'm hovering around 40 milligrams. But as time went on, that dose kind of built up. And my husband, I wasn't hiding my use from my husband, but he did notice that I was reaching for this mysterious pill pack in my purse pretty often. And, he was kind of like, well, what's the deal?
Right.
Is that what motivated you to look up more about 7OH? Like when he noticed, or did you notice something that made you even start researching it in the first place?
Well, I noticed that I would be kind of panicky when the thought of not having it, or when not having it became an issue. We were camping one time and I got very agitated, on the day that we were due to go home, because I had gone through the 7OH that I brought with me and I started to feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
I was feeling dope sick. I didn't realize that at the time, but
Mm-hmm.
my gut instinct was, oh, I have to go to the store and buy more pills. There was no reason for me to be feeling that way other than the fact that I had run out of 7OH.
Wow.
So at about the 6-month mark, I was like, well, this isn't good. I've read these horror stories at this point. It's probably about time that I get off of this shit. And at that point, too, I was spending money on it. I can't tell you exact numbers of how much I was spending to begin with, but it was starting to make a dent in my finances. I'll put it that way. So I tried to quit cold turkey one day. It was a Sunday. I had to work the next day. And about 5 hours into my attempted quit, I was sweating. I felt sick. And I looked at my husband and I told him this was ill planned. I'm going to have to take some time off work if I want to get off this.
Mm-hmm.
And I continued to take it. And what I told myself is there's no, like, you'll have to take the time off.
Were there effects that affected your work like at all? Like you don't have to disclose like too much, but just out of curiosity, like what did you do? What
Right.
do you
I mean, if anything, and this is the hard part, it made my job a lot easier because I was in a much better mood. I was taking it at work by that point too.
Wow. So, did it affect when you took it? Like, did it affect any parts of your life other than the fact that you knew you needed to have it all the time to sustain?
I was having odd physical side effects. I would get hot flashes. I would get really sweaty all the time, like out of the blue. My sleep was disrupted pretty badly. I was sleeping, but it wasn't good sleep, if that makes sense. Like I would stay up until like maybe 2 a.m.,
Right.
not off between like the hours of 2 to 6 a.m. and then get up for work at 7. And it wasn't real sleep. It was kind of just dozing off like while high on 7-OH. I stopped getting my period too for 9 months, like the final 9 months of me taking it.
Really?
hmm And I've heard that from others too, other women, that it really like disrupts your cycle in certain ways. My psychiatrist told me that kratom products in general can mess with your thyroid, so that might have something to do with it. But
Now, in your community, maybe your friend group, or was this like, were other people taking this?
no. And this was nobody knew that this was going on besides my husband.
Well, what about kratom? Were other people taking kratom?
Maybe once in a blue moon, but I wouldn't say anybody was like as deep into kratom as I was from the get-go. So
Is kratom like a shrooms? Like kind of like shrooms?
no.
It's
Shrooms are a psychedelic. That's a whole like
shrooms is way more intense than kratom, right?
yes. I mean, if I had to explain it, if you were to take a spoonful of kratom, you could probably go to work and be fine. Whereas if you took a handful of mushrooms, I would hope you wouldn't go to work and try to do your job that day.
Right.
Very
Okay.
different drugs.
Wow. So, okay. So you tried one Sunday and you're like, "Holy shit, there's no way that I am gonna be able to do this. I
Mm.
need to prepare." When's the next time you tried to do this?
We had a couple of repeat incidents, basically. So I start off with good intentions, maybe on like a Friday or something, being like, okay, this is it. I'm going to quit this weekend. And I had heard too, you can take regular like leaf kratom to get yourself off of it. You can take a lot of liposomal vitamin C as well, and that should ease the withdrawal. So I tried all of those things and they weren't working. I would get sick every time. And when I say sick,
Can you tell, yeah, like, what does it mean to be sick? Like, what is that?
well, this was new to me too, because like I said, I'd never been addicted to opiates. I didn't know what opiate withdrawal was like. But if, in a nutshell, I would say it's like the worst flu of your life times a million with some major anxiety slapped on top of it.
Like it was so bad that you weren't able to like leave the house.
Right.
Wow.
Non-functional. Yeah. Just a horrible feeling of impending doom on top of all the physical effects being like fever, sweating, vomiting, diarrhea. Like
That sounds incredibly, incredibly, incredibly hard to get off of.
it is.
So then you try again. So you tried for like a week?
I tried for a few months to get off doing that same,
Okay.
well, I wouldn't call it a method. It was like throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing if it would stick, but I couldn't stick to the getting off of kratom or 7-OH plan.
What?
So the whole time that you were addicted, you were basically like trying to get off of it. Well,
Not the whole time, but
oh,
the
okay.
final, so I was addicted to it for a year. And the final 6 months, yes, I was trying to get off of it.
Mm-hmm.
The final 3 months, I was really trying to get off of it because at that point it was beginning to impact my finances in greater ways than it had initially. It was impacting me just by behavior, and I was on drugs.
Right.
I was high all the time.
What?
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
if I wasn't, well, I won't say I wasn't high because there was either being high or the fear of getting sick. So by the end, I would say I was just taking the 7-OH to avoid getting sick. I didn't
Like
feel the
weaning yourself,
euphoria anymore.
weaning yourself off of it.
I didn't try that.
Wait, what do you mean?
You said weaning myself off of it?
Yeah, because you said you were only taking it so that you wouldn't be sick, but would that be like less frequent than when you were taking it before, or no?
No. At that point, I had to take like a certain amount, like, or I would feel sick. So
Renee, at the at the end of it, before you, like, we'll say before the last straw, how much of it per day were you taking?
I'm sitting here with a pen and paper actually trying to map this out right now. I haven't done this before. So I started on 10 milligrams was my first dose. I would say that sped up to 20 milligrams within the first month. And almost a year later, I was at 500 milligrams a day.
A year later, 500?
Yes.
So
Wow.
500, how many packs is that a day?
It depends what dose the pills are. So I was buying 2 packs a day by the end and 2 packs of, well, 4. I was buying 500 milligrams a day by the end, and that cost me $100. I remember it was 2 packs. I don't know exactly what the dosage of those pills were, but
And you would just take them like multiple at a time, or would you take like one and then an hour later take another one?
yeah, I would take them throughout the day.
Okay. When you felt stress or just in general?
Just in general, because I knew if I didn't, I would get sick.
Right, 100%. Let's talk about the final straw where you knew it was like, there's no, I need more help.
Mhm. Which part?
Like the very end, the one that got you, let's say, like, let's say the one that got you to be at your sober date.
Okay. So this was leading up to my birthday. Like I took my first 7-OH pill on my birthday weekend when I was turning 34. This was leading up to my 35th birthday. And I looked at myself and I felt haggard. My skin looked like shit. I knew that I was having issues, like as far as my menstrual cycle, obviously from this.
Right.
I felt unwell.
Oh,
And my husband had kind of kept this to himself, like for the majority of the year, but he told me, like, you're not fun to be around right now. He said, you're very bitter, you're very angry. And in my mind, like I was high on opiates the whole year. So I'm skipping along, like, la la la, everything's fine. But apparently I was being an asshole. And I believed him. I still do believe him because, the major things on my mind were having enough 7-OH to not get sick.
right. 100%. That was like your everyday goal. That was the only goal.
Right. And make it through work, obviously, like meet my quote unquote obligations. But the caveat to that was that I had to be on 7-OH to do so. And I thought to myself, this is disgusting. Like you're addicted to an opioid.
I know, but again, like the way we were talking is, it is so easy to get this, and look at the destruction it causes. Like, could you imagine, an 18-year-old, could you imagine your kids? I can't imagine my kids going into the gas station. We come from that age of ephedrine. So
Mhm.
the days that we go in the gas station and buy that because we wanted to lose some weight, which they compare that shit to heroin, which I don't think it's that extreme, but the 7-OH, like, could you imagine a kid going in and buying that and instantly getting hooked?
I mean, I can imagine it. And I think it's a huge problem. I think it's an even worse problem that it's sold in these cute little candy themed packages.
That's
It feels like it's targeted towards young people, honestly.
that's the first thing I said when I looked at the packaging is, it's too pretty. It's too, the flavors, the nice modern marketing. It's like,
Right.
it makes you want to buy it. So let's get back to it. So
Mhm.
what was the breaking point? What led you up to this, your sober date?
I mean, we were coming up on a year of addiction, like I said, and I just I can't keep doing this. And I think the biggest trigger for me, and I hate to say this, it was my finances. At first, I had been spending too much on it, and then I had been dipping into savings for it. And eventually, I canceled my 401k contributions. I told myself, oh, in case of a layoff, but it was really to have more cash on hand so I could buy Crate or 708 and not notice the impact that it was having on my finances.
Jeez. So,
And by this point, I'm spending $100 a day on this shit.
right.
That's ridiculous. That's absurd. So I just said, enough is enough. I told my husband, I was like, I scheduled some PTO.
Yep.
And all of this information was stuff that I had read on the internet because doctors don't really know what this is for the most part still, unless you go to a rehab setting. So people said you're going to need, like 3 to 7 days to come off of this stuff. You're not going to be you're not going to be functional for those 3 to 7 days. So I scheduled some time off work. I learned that a friend of mine had also gotten into trouble with 7-OH, and she ended up getting a Suboxone prescription to get off of it. And she had some left over, so she gave me some.
Did that?
Go ahead.
Did the Suboxone help?
I'll get into that.
Okay.
So with Suboxone, and this was all new to me again. I've never been addicted to opioids. I don't know the rules, quote unquote. You're supposed to wait 24 hours from the last dose of your opiate of choice before starting the Suboxone. Otherwise, you can be put into something called precipitated withdrawal, which is it rips all the opioids that are currently on your receptors off and kind of throws you into like the pits of withdrawal all at once. And people wind up in the hospital over it a lot because it's so unpleasant. It's not life-threatening, but it's very unpleasant. So I was trying to avoid that. The first day, so I waited the 24 hours and I woke up at the 24-hour mark, or right around then. I was sweating. My hands were shaking so badly that I could barely even cut up the Suboxone script that my friend had given me. So you have to cut them up into certain doses, depending on where you're at in the withdrawal. And I took the Suboxone for 3 days. I would say the Suboxone barely touched the withdrawal. I was having a very hard time physically and mentally. And Suboxone is supposed to take care of that. It takes care of heroin withdrawal, fentanyl withdrawal. But to me, it wasn't really touching the withdrawal. I think it kept me out of the hospital, looking back on it.
Right.
But yeah, I went through 4 days of complete hell.
And here you are, and here we are today, sober, off 7-0.
Yeah.
Is it something, and we have more to cover, but is it something that you still crave every day?
No, not every day. I remember during the withdrawal, like the thought of it made me feel ill. Like the thought of the packs of the pills, like envisioning it in my mind, like just made me feel sick. And that stuck with me for a while. I associated it with the withdrawal.
I think that was maybe a defense mechanism that your brain like put into place. It was like, well, if we just think about it this way, then
Well, it's a good defense mechanism, isn't it? So
absolutely. That's the difference between someone who gets off versus someone who stays on. I assume.
And looking back on like the quote unquote good times I had, like there was nothing good about it. I was just going through my normal life, but taking 7-OH at the same time. There was nothing that it enhanced, besides putting me in a slightly better mood at work. That's there wasn't a whole lot on the pros side of the list, if that makes sense,
One guy that was talking about his experience with 7-0, and he said it, I think, best, where he said, I took it one time, and that first time I took that pill, it would never be as good as that first time, but I chased it and I wanted to feel that so much. So he kept taking it.
Yeah.
Become addicted.
I mean, I think that's a pretty standard thing that people say about opioids in general. I don't know if that exactly was the case for me. But yeah, I mean, I will say I've never ever taken a substance that got its hooks into me so quickly.
As
I don't know what it was. Like,
as like a recreational drug user, like, a lot of people not just smoke weed, but they'll like you said, kind of dabble in like these other like drugs. Would you say like would you tell people like stop doing that recreational drug use unless you really know what you're taking? Would you like give some kind of advice to those people? Because that's a common thing. Everyone's like, oh, do you want to try this? And they're like, yeah, sure. I mean, I've never tried it before. Try it. You know what I mean?
I would encourage that everyone does their research.
Mm-hmm.
And usually, that's the funny thing. I'm usually very good about that. I don't like taking something if I don't know what it is or how it might potentially affect me. And I don't know. It was just, it was kind of the perfect storm. It hit me at the right time. It was the right drug to like weasel its way in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the right lapse of judgment that I had
Mm-hmm.
to not do any research, and I will say, to my credit, there wasn't a whole lot of information widely available about it, though, at the time either,
Yeah.
which is probably even worse. You're basically taking a research chemical for funsies. But yeah, I would encourage everyone to do their research before taking any substance.
I want to read you. I want to read you something. You know what? It was on one thread, and I do want to acknowledge this because I know that we're going to get a lot of listeners from this because this is like a nationwide issue. I'm so afraid that what they're going to do is just change this so slightly and then put this back on the market.
Oh, like an analog chemical?
Like change it so
Yeah.
minutely that the FDA can't keep up with it.
I mean, they've already tried. Have you looked into MGM?
No.
That's like the next kratom alkaloid that they're trying to roll out in place of 7-OH to get around the bans that some states have enacted already.
Can you explain that more?
MGM, I don't know too much about it. I just know that it's of the ilk of 7-OH, right? It's a kratom alkaloid, synthetic. So they've taken the feel-good parts of kratom basically and blown it up. But apparently MGM has a much longer half-life than 7-OH. Apparently the withdrawal is much harder and much longer because of the extended half-life of that drug.
Where do you get it?
Vape, smoke shops.
They sell it in Portland now?
I haven't looked for, I can't, I'm sure they do, but
Well, you're probably not looking for it, but like, wow.
I know. But any place you can buy 7-OH, I'm sure has MGM available too. It's just not something that I've.
MGM. That's what it is? You just ask for MGM?
It's called MGM 15.
This is crazy. Now, I had one on one of the threads, we're on multiple. I had one person actually get a little upset with me because they were assuming that I was attacking kratom. And I'm not here for that battle because to be honest with you, I don't understand kratom enough. I'm just talking about 7-O. Are there, as we're interviewing more people, are there things that like I should say, we should say, shouldn't say, things that you like, don't like? You know what I mean?
So I think it's very important to make a distinction between kratom, like the leaf, the powder, versus these synthetics that are coming out, such as 7-OH and MGM 15. They're completely different animals. Kratom, like the powder, the leaf, has been around for hundreds of years. People have taken it without issue. It doesn't cause these horrific withdrawals. And I know some people who have taken it to get off of harder opioids with success, just using this natural powder. The problem is that 7-OH is being marketed as the same thing as kratom. They're handing out free samples of it and telling people, oh, it's just kratom. And it's not. It's a synthetic chemical. It's cooked in a lab.
Right. What is the motivation for these companies to like create this? I mean, obviously making money, but I mean,
Money. That's what makes the world go round.
That's crazy. That's just crazy.
It's greed.
It's money. That's it. There is no other motivation.
$100 a day.
Right.
Now, just so I have this clear, there is a small amount of kratom in 7-0?
There's a small amount of 7-OH in the kratom plant. It's like 0.0002% though.
Wait, the 7-OH is inside of kratom?
Yes, and that's what they did. They extracted the 7-OH from kratom and concentrated it and
Understood.
Oh, and
created
made it synthetically. The same.
right.
Oh.
But it's like apples and oranges. And like I said, like kratom will not leaf kratom does not cause these horrific withdrawals. It doesn't have the same potential for addiction or habituation. They're completely different substances.
Wow. Wow. So today you're off of it. You're done with that.
Mm-hmm.
And your friend is also off of 7-OH as well?
The friend that gave me the Suboxone.
Yes.
Yes, she is.
Do you think that you'll I can't remember if you said that you stopped taking kratom, but did you? Have you?
I still take leaf kratom.
Okay.
And I have no qualms about that. Like I said, I've taken it since I was 21 or 22.
Mhm.
It's such a benign plant to me. Like I wouldn't compare it to the high you get from smoking weed, but in my mind, it's as benign as weed to a casual pot smoker. That's how I feel about kratom.
Mhm.
Understood. Is there anything that we missed, or is there anything that we should tell you? You have our platform here, and you have a lot of people listening. There's going to be a lot of people on both sides.
You're scaring me.
What would you say to them? Kids that are walking up the street and going to a vape shop and are looking around for something fun,
God, the kids. One of the things I thought about when I was in the pits of that hellish withdrawal was, thank God I'm not 16 and going through this. I told my husband afterwards, I was like, I feel like I just gave birth.
Right.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it to go through that withdrawal. And if you take it more than once, odds are you will get addicted. You will seek it out. You will keep taking it because that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to create repeat users.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not worth it to go through that withdrawal. I can't even explain how horrifying that was. And it wasn't, I went through a week of acute withdrawal, and then the month that followed was awful in its own way. I had no motivation, and I looked like shit. I think I said this in one of our messages. I ended up going to rehab a couple weeks after I had stopped. I had already quit the 7-OH, but I was in such bad shape still, physically and mentally, that I needed like the intensive therapy and I needed medical attention at that point. I was dehydrated. I hadn't slept. The insomnia did not go away for a full month after I stopped taking it.
It's just so I don't know. I know I keep repeating myself here, but it's just so scary to me that I didn't know about this, say, 3 weeks ago. I had no idea. This existed.
And you've been going through this for like a year, over a year, and you were going through this for over a year.
Yeah, you've been going through it for over a year, and who knows how many people in private are also going through this.
I don't have any figures or numbers to hand you or statistics, but I've heard that the people this is impacting most, aside from people who were already using kratom, because that was like the target audience for these products, and it worked. It's middle-aged people who are seeking pain relief.
And would you say that 7-OH functions as pain relief? Like if you were to, if I were to hit my knee on something and like have a sore knee and then take 7-OH, like my pain would not be as intense.
Yeah, I would. It's an opioid, point blank.
Gas station opioid.
Mm-hmm. It's an opioid that happens to be sold at a gas station. It's how I'm
just
viewing it at this point.
That's just so crazy because something that has effects like this should really be like a controlled substance. That's really crazy.
Should be.
If it's like, it's good because it's medical, or like Sometimes I feel like they just test medications on us and then like they're like, see how it works. And then they're like, oh, it works too good. Like we're just gonna package it up and resell it for more money.
Well, and this is all based on like online discourse, but the strongest argument that I've heard like in favor of 7-OH is, oh, I got cut off from my opioid prescription for pain. I need something and I can go get this anytime I want. That's like the main argument that people are putting forth for 7-OH.
That really
And I'm like,
sucks
well,
because it's
that's
like you want to get off the opiate. That's the point. You don't want to be in.
right. I mean, I feel for them, but there's no reason why it should be sold over the counter the way it is. And
I mean, the doctors will prescribe you the opiate if you're still in pain. Like they'll do it no problem.
I mean, people are saying they're having issues with that specifically, and I can't speak to that. I've never had chronic pain.
You
But
know, it just, you remember when the opioids first started taking over and you could get
I
a
do,
script
yeah.
like nothing. That was the day that things changed. Like that was the worst day that we had that takeover. I mean, opioids have destroyed this country. This argument that like marijuana is the gateway drug or things like that, I strongly disagree. It's opioids, 100%.
Yeah, your doctor
Yeah.
prescribes you that, and you take it
100%.
twice, and then you're screwed.
I agree. And it's the same story every time. And, it's so funny to me, though, with 7-OH specifically, and all of this is coming from the internet, but I've seen my exact story so many times. Like, I took Kratom for 10 years, blah, blah, blah. And then I was handed a free sample. These companies are out here like pushing their free sample because they know people, they know how addictive it is.
Right, 100%. Hey, after all, that's how you got it, correct?
Right. Free sample.
Free sample.
I was the target audience and I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Like
Boy.
something needs to be done about it, though. It should not just be like sold over the counter at your local vape shop. Like,
Well, you just said it. Now, like in Connecticut here, I'm wondering if MGM 15 is available,
mhm.
right? Because 7OH is not, but is MGM 15?
And did Connecticut ban like leaf kratom, or is that still available?
You know, we're going to have to do some research on this and see, and like almost make like a chart. It's
Because some states have made the distinction. I know Florida banned 7-OH several months ago, but they still allow leaf kratom. I think Ohio banned all kratom products altogether, but I remain a strong proponent of like just plain powder plant, whatever you want to call it, leaf kratom. I think
Right.
it's the synthetics that are it's
But it's kind of like, are they banning kratom because of what's happening with 7-OH? Or are they
I mean,
just
yeah,
banning
that would
kratom?
be the justification because it was legal up until that point.
So
So
why do I feel like they're just trying to ban kratom? So they like made this up to ban kratom.
mm,
Do you think? Like so
I
that they
don't
can
think
sell kratom as a controlled substance and tax it?
I think anybody that's trying to include kratom in these like sweeping bans doesn't understand the distinction between kratom versus the synthetics.
I'm glad we're having this conversation though, because this is a big argument here. This is where the crossroads is like there are kratom users like you. I know nothing about it. Marijuana, I think, listen, anything walked, flown, grown, or swam on this earth over 200 years is fine by me. But I agree. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the kratom because I don't see anybody talking about getting off kratom like they do 7-0.
No, you don't see these withdrawals from kratom.
100%.
You just don't.
100%.
And you don't see the same like, pardon me, but junky behavior, if you will, around plain leaf kratom. It's just not that kind of a substance.
Right.
So how would you say that like others described your behavior when you were on 7-OH or 7-OH?
When I came clean to like friends and my therapist too, my therapist was like, "Oh, well, that explains the flat affect."
Oh, so she could kind of tell that something was or they could kind of tell that something was going on?
Once I brought it up, yeah. My close
Wow.
friends didn't really notice, to be honest. It's easy to conceal unless you're way too high and are like nodding off at the dinner table or something.
And did you have to like face people at your job, or was it more of like an office job, or were you hands on? Like what?
So I work from home, but I am kind of client facing. I have to be on Zoom calls like for about a third of my day.
Okay.
So yeah, I have to be presentable, and nobody there said anything to me about it or noticed like a change in behavior. They noticed that I was a lot better after I stopped taking it and said, you're glowing.
Wow. My gosh.
Well, I want to, you've given us a lot of time. I want to stay in touch with you because we have a lot that we can do good to keep this momentum going. And just like you said, like the MGM-15, something that I would not have even had thought of.
No idea about that.
Had no idea of. And we're going to do some research too. Funny little story. This afternoon, I was calling some local shops because I said, "Hey, I'll go up to Massachusetts and look for it." And do you know one guy hung up on me? And then I
Why
called
was
back
that?
at one vape shop. I asked him, I'm like, "Do you have any 7OH?" And he gave me an attitude. He's like, "Yeah, we have it." And then he hung up on me. And I called back. He wouldn't even take my call. It's just,
Why?
I don't know. It's not easy to like figure out right now where to get it just based on what I'm doing, like just the little research that I have been.
It's way too easy in Oregon.
I'm wondering if it's like, if it's just that because we're not exposed to it over here and it's like a good thing, or is it a bad thing that we have no idea what's going on and it could invade at any time?
Yeah, but remember
It
what
could just show up to a liquor store at any time.
remember what the state police officer said.
Oh, right. It's on their radar.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So they do
Yeah.
know that. Oh, he's seen.
What did he say about it though? Like,
So-
you said he's apprehended people like high on 7OH, or they're stealing it from. I saw a video not long ago of somebody breaking into a smoke shop and stealing 7OH. They
Yeah.
hopped over the counter and ran off with like a bunch of 7OH packets of pills.
So he was actually at our work. He was just waiting for the next call. So we went up to him. And one of my questions to him was, what are the biggest, like, what are the most, like, what are the drugs that you're finding the most of right now? And I forgot what the first one was. It was either cocaine.
Cocaine and 7-0.
It was cocaine and 7OH.
Yeah.
And that's like the stops that he's doing and the arrests he's making and the things he's finding. He's seeing it.
And
He's-
7OH is no longer legal in Connecticut, right? They banned it?
Correct. But
Okay. But it's legal in Maine or
it's
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. I think maybe some parts of Massachusetts now are banning it, but it's legal in.
It's already banned here?
It's already banned in Connecticut.
I thought like
Rhode Island,
we don't have it.
New England have it. And yeah, and the other thing is too, remember, dispensaries in Massachusetts for marijuana, people go up there because it's cheaper. So people have no problem from Connecticut flocking to Massachusetts. They have no issue.
I've seen people online saying, "Oh yeah, I have to do a 4-hour drive now to get my 7OH because they're crossing state lines." Not in Connecticut necessarily, but just in general, if they live in a banned state.
Yep. And in fact, I'll go one further. I won't mention necessarily what gas stations they are, but I did ask gas stations locally, and one gas station told me, "No, we don't have it. It's banned. However, you can still get some up the street."
Mm.
So obviously, it's like this secrecy. This is what it is. Like and probably people don't want you talking about it because they don't want it to get banned because everybody needs to just shut up
They want
about
their
it.
relief.
100%. 100%. And I understand, this opioid thing's hard. I know there will be pushback because the way people feel is, like you said, 7OH is something that they can get. If they cannot get to the doctor, they cannot get that prescription. And it just shows that we have a bigger problem in this country with the opioid addiction. But needless to say, I can't thank you. Like, we cannot thank you enough for coming on. You're brave. It's not easy to do this. Yeah, and I just want to thank you. Any final thoughts for the for everybody listening or
For the pod.
for the pod?
I mean, again, it's not worth it. Nothing is worth that withdrawal. And you will have to go through that withdrawal at some point if you become addicted to 7-OH. You can't kick the can down the road forever. You have to pay the piper at some point. Yeah, that's all. I can't stress how horrible that withdrawal was. It was this sounds stupid, but it was a life-changing experience for me, honestly. So,
Do you think that experience is scary enough where it will make it so you never go back to 7-OH?
I do. I think that's the main thing keeping me away from it, is never wanting to feel that way again.
Wow.
That's willpower.
That is willpower. That is willpower.
As I say this, though, it's sold 3 blocks down the road. So I want it gone. I don't want it to be available 3 blocks down the road. I don't want kids to be able to wander in and buy some if they want to get high on a Saturday. It's not that kind of drug.
It's not that kind of drug.
And these candy-colored packages, it's just not that kind of substance. Like, it's not to be fucked with. So
100%. 100%. Renee, thank you for coming on the Two Talking Fools podcast. When this is over, we will edit this and you will get we'll send you a link so that you can obviously listen to it too. Other than that, thank you so much. Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much. I'm sorry I'm so awkward.
You're not awkward.
Terrifying for me.
No, you did a great job. You're very eloquent. You said everything very clearly, not awkward at all.
No.
Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it. And I appreciate that you're bringing attention to this too.
No. Yeah, thank you. It's like, honestly, like we have to use the platform for good, and
It's the least you can do when you find out about something like that.
100%.
Yeah.
If you hear of anything, obviously you know how to, we're friends now. So if you hear of anything that we should know about, like, we'll keep in contact anyway. So I'm not worried about it, but we'll be in touch. Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate you. All the best to you. We mean that.
Have a good weekend. Thank
too.
you.
Take care.
Bye.
City lights humming, vinyl breathing cool. Two talking fools. Breaking rules while they laugh and cruise. Everybody tunes in cause they love these fools. Do I flip in the boom bap fuel? Turn it up loud for the talking fools. Do I flip in the boom bap fuel? Turn it up loud for the talking fools.